Hi everyone, it's Joanne, and today I'm going to show you my garden, my strawberries, and this is why my fingernails don't look as good as everybody else's in videos, but we're still going to have fun. Now I'm going to start off with making my cover for this little mini journal, and I haven't done a journal in such a long time that I didn't really know where to go with it, but I had this little book that I took the pages out because I didn't like what it said inside, but I said, I'm going to try to reuse that. And then I just started playing with paint, and I didn't know what I was going to do with that. I got to use my favorite tool, and I brought out the gesso because I wanted to put a little bit of tooth to the cover. Not really sure why, but I just decided to do that. And I used my market basket flyer to house my paint, and I did a very special technique. So I took a piece of paper, and I didn't want all of that paint all at once because it would just look like blobs, right? So, put the paint down, you pick it up, and you got big circles. I don't really want that. I wanted to go for a little more messy, scraped kind of look. So this paper I thought I was going to use, but I didn't end up using. So I'm taking my cover. That's what I'm going for. Just a little smudge of paint. I'm doing it on the inside cover, back, front, all of it. I just want to have something different. I'll speed this up and I'll show you how I did the blue before I put the smudges on it. I just took some folk art paint that I had and I just painted it. First I gessoed it. I did gesso it first. I like that rough texture feel that you get with gesso, and I didn't want to cover the whole thing with the blue because I want the white to be peeking through. I had something in my head that I wanted to do, but I just couldn't get it to come out the way I wanted it to. I just kept playing with it, and I guess that's when you use that phrase, trust the process, because in the end I did feel a little happier with my end product when I smeared the paper. So while that book is drying, I'm working with my granddaughter, and we made some pies, and I made a cake for my other granddaughter. And so that's why my hands are always in something. So let's go back to making the signature for this journal. And while I could stop, I cleaned off some of the paint off of my hands, but again, I am just working along and I am trying to enjoy the rhythm of, let's see, satisfaction and joy that I'm getting just doing this little journal, because I haven't done one in such a long time. Just busy, and then I think I want to make one, and then I sit down and then I kind of have a little bit of freeze or block, like a writer's block, only it's a journal block, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just walk away from the desk. My granddaughter's made a couple, but I just couldn't feel it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and even while I was doing this, part of me was saying, oh, it's not going the way that I want. I always have this vision of antique lace, tea-dyed papers, perfect closure, like it's not too chunky, and just everything having good continuity. But then getting it to be that way is too much perfection for me, and I'm not a perfectionist, thankfully. So this is what I came up with, and this is my take on encouraging myself and you. I had in mind that this was going to be a blue and white and cream journal, and I was trying to keep out all the other colors than those. That was a little bit of a challenge for me. I kept wanting to pick up roses and put pinks in there because that's my favorite color. But I think I succeeded. I did really well, let's say, putting the blue and white together. And then I went on YouTube and I watched a few people, and I found so many other digitals that were blue and white. So I bought a few, and I'm going to put them probably on the other half of the journal because I'm only finishing this half, and the other half is going to have some digitals that I'm going to incorporate. So this is going better than I thought. My thumb and wrist was starting to bother me. I didn't know if I was going to be able to either punch the hole through. So next week, that all will be taken care of. I'm having surgery, and hopefully no more pain in my wrist. In the meantime, this is another reason why my hands get so dirty, because I just keep putting them in the dirt. When I get up and I walk around in my room looking for something else to put in the journal, sometimes I run across my pictures. And this is a picture of my family. I'm only missing one daughter. She wasn't there that day. And now this is, I don't even know, I think it was like 2007. And two of my children are in heaven now from this picture, which is sad, but it is what it is. And I did write a book, Truth Be Told, A Mother's Raw Grief, and the title says it all. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to keep going on with, this is what I call therapy. I get in here and I start creating things. I have used this, taken this little doily, and I feel like it needs something else, so I'm going to maybe mess it up with a little bit of this distress oxide, which I love. I haven't done a journal in such a long time. I don't even know when I did the last one. And I used to love doing this. But it is a busy season, too, with the gardens. And I was listening to someone, and they were talking about the rabbits, and I was like, the rabbits are cute, but they are destroying my flowers. They're eating them all. And I guess you can either have the flowers or the rabbits. I would like to have both, but I wish they would stay in their own lane, because I like to see both. And right now I'm not too happy with Peter and all of his family. Peter Rabbit. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make this page look a little bit older than it is. It's just a computer test page, no, a printer page, I think is what it is. And then something that I haven't purchased in a long time is a Daphne Diary magazine. I used to go there with my husband to Barnes & Noble and pick one up every time it came out. And then I don't know why, I just kind of stopped. That's on my list of things that I want to do sometime. Just me and my husband go and get a cup of coffee. It was our date place. And these Yoo-hoo sticks are nice and soft. They go on nice and easy, but they run out so fast. My granddaughter likes to leave the cap off and dry them out. And she doesn't do it on purpose, but that's what happens. But this flower looked good there, and I have this this piece of music paper. It's from a music, like a piano piece, where years ago people would just buy one piece of music at a time to play it. So I believe it's from 1950, somewhere in there. And I have these little pieces of paper like this that are old, that are in a little cup. And I told myself when I was making this journal that I was going to have to either use it or throw it away, because I couldn't keep another pile of papers after doing journals. So I'm really trying to find spots for the things that I pulled. When I get up and walk around my room, I find something new that I forgot that I had. And I'm telling myself I have to use it in this journal, or I have to recycle it. I wished there were people around here that liked to do journals, but they're not. I went to a retreat once. It was in Pennsylvania, and I was the only one there from Rhode Island. Most of the people were from Florida and Pennsylvania, like up that way. No one, there was one person I think that might have been from New Hampshire. But that was with Casey Turner, and that was really fun. I love her style. So sometimes you just keep trialing things when you're doing it, and I'm hoping that it's not really boring to watch somebody else do it, but this is what you do. I think it was about probably like 3 or 4 hours making this, as far as I got it. I did have to stop and take a rest from it, but it's fun to just go through your things and just pick things out that you may or may not. You end up with a big pile usually that you don't use, but it's just so fun. I don't even know what I was looking for in this bowl, but I found something. I found this little tiny rose that I think was a Tim Holtz thing. I remember going to Joann Fabrics, and when they would have sales, like 40% off, I would buy many packages of Tim Holtz things. So now I have an abundant supply, and I have to find ways to use them. I have little pieces of things that I've been saving, and I want to use a tea bag. I've dried out so many tea bags, but I have never been able to figure out how to incorporate them into a journal. So I'm keeping that tea bag on the side, and I'm going to figure out a way to incorporate it this time. And this other thing was, I wanted to use washi tape. I went around my room and I picked up a whole bunch of stuff, and like I said before, I really want to make this not just a pile, but me using things from the pile. And that's what I'm doing. As I'm getting the glue ready, I look over and I see a piece of a doily. And now my idea is going in a different direction. And I'm wondering if this Yoo-hoo glue is going to hold this fabric down. But I'm going to give it a try. But not yet, because I found this this caught my eye. This Ritz-Carlton Hotel paper that I got in an estate sale. I got a whole bunch of things from an estate sale, and this was in it. And I love the graphics on this blue, and it just fits perfectly. And I'm a little hesitant to tear it because it's one of those things when you first use something that you've been holding on to for a while, and then you're like, well, let's see, do I do this? Can I just leave it the way it is? And so I leave that alone, and I go back and I decide I'm gonna do like a waterfall lace thing. I'm going in my little box here that I pulled out with different pieces of trims, and this one is my favorite. That Swiss dot, love it. I also love a nice piece of muslin. It's just plain. You can do whatever you want with it. It just can be, it's one of those cheap fabrics that you use to, when you're sewing, you can make a model of what you're going to sew out of it. But in junk journals, it's, to me, it just adds something. That and burlap, I don't know, it's like a cheap little and a crumpled up piece of paper. It just adds so much. But I'm not really liking it here. I'm trying to like it, but I'm feeling like this is not the right spot for the muslin. So off to the side that goes. And let's put these back on and see where we're going to go with this. You know, this is where my ADD brain comes in handy, because sometimes I'm just all over the place, and it helps me when I'm creating things. Not so much when I'm trying to figure out numbers and do accounting, but when I'm doing this, I just look over, I pick something up, and all of a sudden an idea just pops in my head and I start going with it. Sometimes I change in the middle of it, but it's okay because I'm in this creative mood and I'm able to just go with it, and it just feels right at the time. This ribbon I've had for it was like probably at least 4 or 5 years. I was watching somebody making an Easter journal, and I don't remember who it was, but she was someone from England, and she bought that or she had that for sale. I think I bought it from her shop, and I just haven't used or had a place to use it, and now I have. And look, here we go. This is what I mean. This is my brain sparking all kinds of different ideas. And first I was making a bow. Now I am gluing this piece of paper that I've been hanging on to for a while. Now I'm going to try to glue the bow down with the Yoo-Hoo glue. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, it's probably going to fall off. I love the sound of this crunchy cereal bag. I wash it out, let it dry, and then I use it for things like that. But I think that that is probably going to fall off. So out comes my dish. Now, a bulb pin and that little rose off-white that I got from Tim Holtz packages is in there somewhere. And I am going to attach that and attach this bow to that doily. And that should secure it so that the bow does not fall off. And it was a little bit more of a challenge than I thought, with having little pain in my thumb and my wrist. But again, that's going to be taken care of next week, so I'm good. Now, I like this. I really like how this is looking. And I am going to try to use a tea bag. No, it's not going to work there. So what else are we going to put over here? Oh, my favorite dotted Swiss. This is all I have of this. I have no idea where I got it. It's been with me for a few years, and this is all I have left of it. It's got a little tatting at the end of it. It's not homemade, but it's really old. I'm remembering now, I think I got it from a store down, an antique junk store down the end of the road. So I sew that on with the sewing machine. I like how that looks. Moving on, I have retrieved a embossed rose that I did. I did a whole pile of embossing one day and then put them in a container somewhere, and I pull out some every now and then I forget where the container is because I keep moving things around. I am always trying to organize and I'm never fully there. I have this cup that my daughter-in-law gave to me before she was married. Now she's been married for 4 years. So it's been 5 years, and I was supposed to use it for coffee or soup, but I just like to put stuff in it because it's pretty. So before I glue that down, I give it a little touch of the color at the edges, and I find that cute little picture, and I want to dress it up somehow. This is where I think I'm going to use the piece of muslin. And as I'm watching it, I'm not sure even what I did with it. I'm thinking I had to rough it up a little bit in that one particular corner because it was all crumply, and I don't want any straight edges. I want it to look crumply. It's so funny how we do that. Sometimes we want things to be really perfect looking, and then we just want it all to be crumply. So I have this little tiny piece of dotted Swiss that I put underneath of the picture of this lady from probably this, I'm going to say 70s, 60s, 70s. And I'm using my glue, and I'm going to make a little collage here. And I pulled this out of that cup, and I love it. I love it there. And there's so much room for journaling if you want to journal all around. And there's so much room in this to keep decorating if you would like to do that. Sometimes when I'm looking at my journals, it seems like either I've decorated a whole ton or not a lot. I did decide after I glued this that maybe it would be nice to have a little pocket right there. So I tried to take some of the glue out and see if I could make a place for a tag to go in, or some kind of thing, a piece of folded up something or other for journaling. And this paper right here, where the stamps were on, it said stamps on the top, and the lady, I hope you can see it, she's holding a letter. And I was like, you know, these two belong here. They just need to go together. I love how sometimes that happens when you're journaling. Things just correspond one to the other, and you just have to use them like that. And that's how that happened. I love that. And I had this, which I had already pulled, and it was in my stash, and it has the red stamp on it, so I was hesitant to use it. But, you know, tucking it in right here in this little pocket was perfect. and then the next page it can start telling a story of the lady that just held, she's holding the letter, she's got stamps. I mean, you can get really creative with how you're thinking. This is a piece of thyme that's dried from my garden, and I just wanted to use it. I felt like it should go there, and that's what I did. I just love the sound of that paper rustling. So now I have this ledger that's really old, and I don't really want to tear it, but I can't use it unless I tear it. But how can I get the most use out of it? Well, it's by gluing it onto both pages. Now I've got some velvet ribbon and some really old antique lace, and I want to put both of those in there using a new Yoo-hoo stick. There we go. It glues down nicely. And now maybe this tea bag that I've been saving can be used. I look at it, I look around, see in my box, I've got some cheesecloth that I dyed a long time ago, never really used it, and thought that would be a good backing for this tea bag. So lay that down, put the tea bag on it, and take a look and see how that goes. And I think it's going well, but it needs something else. It needs to be prettied up. So a doily with a little blue on it. How am I going to attach this? Well, I take out my tiny attacher that I've never used, and there we go. First, I don't even know how to use it. How do I get this to work? Well, I do figure it out. Get the staples in there. They're so tiny and so cute. And then I will attach. It's so funny because when I see other people using staples, I don't mind, but whenever I think about using it, I feel like I'm, I don't know, cheating or not doing the journal justice. I don't know why. But this time, because it's tiny, I thought it was very cute. I have this embroidery pattern paper that I pulled, and I thought that would be sweet right there. Another thing that I don't do is I don't layer enough sometimes, I think, because I don't want to cover up what's already down there. But I think when I watch other people's videos that I really appreciate, I think that's what I'm lacking. I'm always trying to figure out how I can improve, and maybe it's when I start layering things up. Do you think that makes sense? Right there it did. So now I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to decide, am I going to finish the whole thing today and make one video, or am I going to just do half? And after flipping through that, I decided I just need to do half, because otherwise it'll be too long, and hopefully people are still with me and they're enjoying. And I didn't put any music in it because I was watching a couple videos and they didn't have music, and I was kind of enjoying that. And it's something you could even watch at night when you're trying to get ready to go to sleep. I got an envelope here that I'm just picked up, and I said, you know, I think I can do something with this. Glue it up and put it down. I know something I wish I could be more mindful of is keeping my area all picked up when I'm working or making a video, but I seem to get lost in what I'm doing, and things just kind of get all over the desk, and it's all real. It's not, you know, a pretty background with a nice little candle burning. It's like my workspace, but we are working on a journal, right? When I do the flip through, I do clean it up. You'll see, if you want to see at the end, this little flip through of half of it. These pieces that are all folded over, they naturally did that. Oh, the word, the buzzword, organically. They organically did that. I don't like to use buzzwords because I feel like people use them up too much. But it did it on its own. This tag is from something I bought from Marshall's. I kind of want to use it, but I'm looking and I'm thinking it's not looking so good right there. So we'll find out what I do with it. I pulled these rubber stamps in hopes that I could find a place for them in the journal. And I have this Daily Bread booklet that I think I might use that too. Just pawing through everything and seeing what's blue and white and cream that can go in here. I almost did that. That was Pastor's notes, who's passed away. Almost used that. Still might. I decided I'm going to stuff this envelope. So looking for the perfect pieces to go in there. I don't want it to be really thick. I want to be able to turn the page. Sometimes when I can't make a decision, I end up going to the opposite page and working on that. And it somehow frees up my creativity, my brain to work on the other side later. And I don't feel like stressed about it. I just feel it's kind of like a smooth transition. I'm just going, you know, I don't know yet. So let me go over here. And then I just reach on my desk and I just pick up something, and it always seems to be just what I want it to be. And I was thinking about how some of the really creative people like Shanuki, I hope I'm not saying her name wrong. I just think she's so creative, and she just seems like she flows so nicely, and it's her style and it's her things. And I want to have my own style, and sometimes I feel like my style is lacking. But when I was doing this, I was giving myself the freedom to say, this is my style and it's okay. And I think it looks good. And I'm just going to keep going with it. And that's what I was doing. And I found this, so I found that wax paper. And I believe that was from the retreat too, because there were boxes of things that we could just take. And I think that was in there, because it's stuck to this pattern. Unless it was mine, I really honestly don't even know. Whenever I use gesso or glue, I always think of Casey Turner, because she uses it all the time. That's funny. So this glue, the glitter glue, it is challenging for me to have glue come out of the top of the cap. That little pointy thing, it always gets stuck. I can't get the needle to go in there to keep it sealed so that it comes out nicely. I was watching somebody who's using that glue so nicely, and I wish that I could do that. I'm going to have to work on that, I guess, because it always glues itself shut. And same thing with the Beacons glue, which I don't like the smell of to begin with, but that glues itself up and volcanoes out the top, and it wastes so much glue. But in order to fix that right now, I poured it in the cap and I used the paintbrush. And sometimes you just have to improvise, and that's what I did here. Now this is the place that I was talking about way before, where I broke my rule about no color except for blue and white. I snuck that rose in. I love that wallpaper. I don't know if that's Ruby and Pearl XO or if it's Amity Bloom. I don't know. It's one or the other. I give credit to both of them because I have both of their digitals. I love how this ink looks, but I get afraid to use it because I have everything the way that I want it almost, and that's why I put it back down. And then I'm afraid that it'll be too much, and once you put that down you can't take it back. But you know, if I put those constraints on myself like that, I'm not having fun. I'm being too restrained, and I just decided just to go for it and just do some squiggles. And I liked it. Now for this closure, not closure. It's a piece of embossed paper that I wanted to look like it was closed, but it wasn't. So I went and glued it to the end here and then just left it open. Just like that. Hope my dog snoring just didn't come in to the voice, but if it did, it did. So glued that down and put a clip on it and continued on with my page. This stamp cost me 99 cents. It was on clearance, and I was thinking, well, it's 99 cents for a reason, or is it going to work? I was a little skeptical. Putting the ink on it and trying it. But again, I'm encouraging myself, and I am going to keep trying things and not hold myself in a box. Although I might have to buy some new archival ink because I tried several times to get this coated with the ink, and I'm thinking, is it the 99-cent rubber stamp? Does it not want to hold all the ink? Or is it my archival pad? And I'm wondering, can't you like spray alcohol on it or water and make it work? Does anybody know that? I thought I read that somewhere as I'm thinking about this before I go out and try to get another ink pad, because I will go into Hobby Lobby for an ink pad and come out with about $50 to $60 worth of other stuff that I do not need. So if I can avoid that, that would be good for me. In the meantime, I am trying another stamp because I see I put that stamp over there on the right and it's very faint. So I'm going to try this one that I know always works really well. I think it's a Queen Anne's lace, which I had. Now this piece is unusual for me. Unusual because I don't usually use geometric type pages. And I sacrificed those beautiful roses on the other side for this geometric page. But it was blue and white, and I had to do it. I had to figure out a way now to not make it look so modern, because to me it was modern. It's funny how we think. You know, we just think the way we think. And to me, I thought it was too modern. So I find a piece or two in my little box here. The burlap, that little bit of lace that I just keep putting back in the box because it has some pretty useful parts to it still, in my opinion. Using my glue here, as you notice, the Yoo-Hoo glue ran out. Using that glitter glue, I didn't know if it really was supposed to hold down fabric type things, but it seems to be doing a good job. I found that little tiny piece on the desk, decided to ink around it and glue it down, and just when I glue it down, that's when I noticed that white flowery thing. And I wish that I've seen that first, because then I would have glued the blue piece in the center of it. Now I got my ink out again, and I'm not really loving how it's running out, and I'm too nervous to squeeze it and make big glops of ink, and so it looks like it's a little light. I took the dryer and I dried it, made sure it was totally dry before I turned the page. And sometimes you just got to turn the page and just leave it. I wanted to incorporate this music page in here because I like the numbers on the bottom, and I just love a journal with music pages in it. And this is some parchment paper, and it seemed like it fit perfectly right there. Didn't even have to tear it. I wanted to put some gesso over the music just so that way it would soften it and maybe even be a good writing space. And I debated on whether or not I should put some over there in that stripe, and that way it could dry, but good thing I didn't, because I would have smushed it. This is some packaging tape, paper packaging tape, that I just took a little knife and just roughed it up, and I wanted to use half of this rubber stamp on that blue paper. Having a problem with the ink still, and I made it work. It's not as dark as I wanted it to be, but I made it work. And this is where sometimes you gotta leave well enough alone. I really liked that stamp Hope right there, and I put the rope on, and again, if you read my book, or there's a story about how Jesus is the rope of hope for me in my book. So I thought it was fitting to put that little thing of rope over there, and then I thought it was fitting to write that in. Jesus is my rope of hope. And still need practice, and when I got to the hope part, I wish that I've left it alone and not put the ink over it and just let the stamp, the rubber stamp, do the job for me, because I didn't like how it was. And then I took the gesso that was gesso watered down and tried to soften that, and you know, that's how it came out. I found a spot for this gold firework looking thing, and then I found a spot for this. In the beginning I couldn't find a spot for it, and there's that. And then I had this floating envelope, and then a tag that I had made a while ago for something else. So there I am in the middle, and now I'm ready to do a flip through of half of this journal. Okay, let's do a little flip through of half of the journal, because that's all that's done right now, but that's what I want it to be. I'll do work on the cover probably at the end. So we have a little spot there. We can tuck things in. Let's see. So I'm going to voice over because I went way over on this. As you've seen, you saw me do this. You saw me make these pages if you watched the whole video, and this is the end result. That's my waterfall lace, that's what I call it. My Ritz-Carlton page with an awesome envelope with a beautiful letter inside. And I have a tuck spot there. I can make a nice tag to fit in there, and there I got to use my tea bag, and I got my ledger paper that I love looking at and seeing who bought what and how much they paid for it. It's just fascinating to me. I could just stare at it and then imagine someone coming into the country store and buying green beans and soap and so forth. It's just an awesome thought. Here's my envelope that's not stuck, and it's got little treasures inside, some little encouraging things inside there. my one place that has a color other than blue. And that's how my Keep Your Eyes on the Prize came out. And, you know, that's a little messy. Maybe it could be done over. You know, you can decide. You can leave it or you can just redo it. I got a floating pocket here. And that trim. Love that trim. And my little fireworks. And then this I love because it says Johnny and Jack. My brother's Johnny and my husband is Jack. And that is the center. And I hope you are still here and you enjoyed this video. And, you know, watch me do the other half of it. Thanks for watching and thanks for your support.